Okay, still doing a 100-hour service, and well, I'm gonna take my lower unit off, and there's a seal that's bad in here, so I'm gonna take it off, pressure test it, put a new water pump in it, and service it. First thing you want to do is take I'll take the lower unit off, and take the prop off, and got a 1 1/16 inch socket, and then you want to just take a piece of wood and let's see here. I'm gonna get this up. Piece of wood, and I'm gonna take this prop off. So I take this off. You take your nut off, and then you wanna check your washers. So one of the washers, let's see, this one's flat, and this one of these, if you notice, they go like this, and this one's got a slight bevel to it, a little bit smaller, so you just want to put those back on the way you took them off. And you got the thrust washer. And this will come right off, and then of course you got your locking deal. You just take that guy off, and then I'll put down a thing so I can get to these nuts, and it's pretty simple. You're just going to take, there's 4 bolts, 2 on this side, 2 on the other side, and then it'll drop. And there's a water tube you got to take off, and I'll do that next. Alright, so first thing you're going to do is take the trim tab off, and it's a 1/2 inch socket. This is a torque master, I think they call it. And I'm going to take a little Sharpie, even though this is this one's not like your old style trim tab with the skeg on it, I'm still going to mark it. So I'm going to do a little mark with my Sharpie right here. I don't think it makes a difference, but then that way I can line this back up the way that it was. And so want to be careful. You don't want to go against the housing. Oh yeah, it's tight. So may want to get a bigger breaker bar, something I can get stuff on. I'm going to shoot this full of some penetrating oil. really on there. There it goes. So yeah, there's our trim tab. And clean it up. Put some anti-seize on it when we put it back on. So then these guys, these bolts, and they're on there. So I just had to use my little breaker bar setup. Alright, so I left one on, slightly on. Couple threads and one in the front. Alright, I forgot. There's one more bolt right here that you got to take out. So take that out. Wait, 9/16 is what this little bolt is. Yep. It's just a lot of tension because it. Anyway, some corrosion. I'll clean that up. Put some anti-seize on it. But now you can see we got it broke. So it's ready to come out basically. You just need to remove this tube. And it should just come off the top there. I mean, it's not super heavy. If you got another person, that makes it a lot easier. I got enough on this that should be able to drop it a little bit enough to get to the tube. So you can see that little tube. You just want to pull that tube out of there. Maybe. Come off of there. There it goes. And then it should just drop right on out of there. Alright. And that's pretty much that. It looks to me like some reason the seal, I can see it right here. Some reason the seal popped up on the shift shaft. Okay, I'm going to show this real quick. So this lower unit was leaking oil, and having to fill it up quite a bit. And the reason why is some of the seals, at least one of the seals I know, is bad. And show a little better picture of this. Hopefully, I've got this little crazy little stand I made, but if you look, right here is the seal. If you noticed, it's raised up, so it got pushed out for some reason, and that caused it to start leaking. So I'm going to have to clean all this up, and then I'm going to also take this off, take the impeller out, and get to the seal that's down below here. And once I do that, then I can go to the vent tube down here. Let me show this real easily. I don't know if you can see it. And get to the vent tube and pump it up with some pressure and see if I get some soapy water and go around and see if that seal is good as well, which I think it is. But since you're in here, you might as well replace the shift shaft seals and this seal. Although I don't know, I can take a look at that, but I think if this seal's good, I'll probably just leave it alone, because these seals around here don't go out like these do. This seal goes out pretty easily. It's pretty common, actually. And you should take this off. You want to look down in here and make sure your vent tube, like, you can blow some compressed air down in there, and if you don't have anything coming out of your little weep hole, and I don't know if you can see it because of this case I got, but there's a little indentation right there, and that's a little weep hole. Basically, pressure comes up from water pressure, and then it comes out, and that's how you get your speedometer. So mine wasn't working, so I'm assuming this is probably pretty clogged. But anyway, this all comes off, and you get this piece and get the new seals. Or all right, so once I took the shift shaft thing off, and you can even, there's a little rubber piece, and you can even see that even better now. A little rubber piece, and you can see that seal is really kind of up there, and not sure why it caused the seal to come up. It seems to be on there correctly, I believe, but we can take this off and let it pop up. This is like a Torque Master. Not sure if this is 1 or 2. I think it's 2. One has got, on this is, it's got like 2 bolts holding this down. The other one, it just sits down in there in place. And I think this is just like plastic. And there's 2 seals in here, but they seem to be good. Yeah, when I opened this up the last time, this seal here was up, so it was out, and I inspected this seal and it looked practically brand new. So then I started thinking, well, maybe somebody didn't install it properly. I'm not sure, so I reinstalled it in here, and I've ordered some parts, but I put this back on after I cleaned it up, and then I went ahead and got the oil out of here, and it was really emulsified, so water was getting in here. I knew it was. Put my my fill caps back in, and then I put new oil in it, and then I used my tool that I have. It's basically just a brake bleeder tool, but it's also a vacuum. It's a brake bleeder vacuum pump, Harbor Freight. These days maybe I'll buy a good one. I had an older one, and it had, like, this was broken out, but I mean it still works. But this one, anyway, I went and got one of these, and anyway, you just use your fill tube, and I've got one of these Mercury, deals here, and that helps fill up your lower unit. You just pump it out in the bottom and then wait for it come out the fill holes. I didn't film any of that because there's so many guys that's got that. It's got video of that. And, so doing that, it would not hold pressure, and basically I've got a spray bottle, some soapy water. I sprayed everywhere I could find, all around here, and then all the way around my seal on the bottom, and I cannot find a leak. And whenever I had this on the motor before, and I knew it was leaking, especially after a fresh fill up, I never saw any fluid coming out of the prop shaft. So I suspected it is up here. I tried to listen to see if I had where I could hear any air, and I can't. So I've got another gasket coming, and there's an O-ring, and then there's this seal. So I got some parts of that coming, and I'm suspecting maybe it's this seal. This gasket right here, or it could be the O-ring. Alright, here's a tip for you. So I've got, where's it at? I've got my little brake bleeder that I use to check to see if I have pressure. So you see a lot of these guys, they have these. Problem is you're pushing in to create the vacuum, and it makes a lot of noise, so it's hard to really hear any air leaking. So the problem I was having is I had a little bit of air leaking from here, and you could never hear it. You can never pump it up to pressure, and because of that, you can never really pressurize the lower unit. So I put some O-rings on this because this is not sealing good. So I just kind of put some O-rings around the tip of it. Just to seal it off. I ended up having to put like 4 of them because it's pretty long. Anyway, tighten it down, and so I bought this at Harbor Freight, and it's hooked up to my air compressor. And this is quiet, super quiet, so you want to turn your regulator down on your compressor because you don't want to pump it up to like 100 pounds or nothing like that, because you could possibly damage some O-rings. So if I hit this now, it's going about 20 pounds. and you can see it slowly going down, and so there is an air leak. And then with where's that, with my soapy water, you can spray around your thing, and just to see if you get any air bubbles there. You can see that's clean. And then here's my culprit. You can see it. So yeah, this seal, and I've checked this, and I've checked my seals in the back, and that's all good. So I need to replace this seal, even though that seal looked good. I mean, it looked practically brand new. This seal here is bad. So I have a new gasket coming, which this is sealed just fine around here. It's this seal right here. So I just need to order a new one of those and put that in, and then I can check my pressure again. This is $10, and basically I just put a barb. So that brake bleeder kit, it had a little barb in it. You can see it. And I just put that in here so I can pull this off and still use the hose and everything. And just wanted to show that little setup because it's definitely a lot better than like a pump up deal. I'm not showing this very well, but yeah, it's better than having, like, you can disconnect it when it's holding, and then it's got a little thing where you can let the pressure off. So I believe that once I get another seal in there, then this will be good. And all I did was this is like I said, $10 at Harbor Freight. I don't think it was on sale or anything. It's made for tires. So there's a little piece, and I just cut it off. It's a little tire gauge deal. And then, so that works pretty good. And then that way, like I said, it's silent, so you can really hear where the air's coming out and find your leak. It's not easy to find your leak sometimes, especially if it's not pressurizing. So
I used to hear them talking, the stories they tell, hanging out and sitting around in heartbreak hell. I could see that this ain't no place for me. And then my story